In this video, I'm sharing 5 unconventional personal development habits of high-performing leaders. And if you apply this, I promise you it'll change the way that you think about your own development as well. My name is Eric. I'm a best-selling author and keynote speaker on personal mastery and change. Habit number 1. A week ago, I showed someone how to use my espresso machine that I have at home. I showed them step by step, very slowly, speaking through every part of the process. At the end, they said they understood it. And so when they tried, of course, as you can guess, they messed it up in about 2 or 3 steps. This is something we've all seen before. Learning doesn't come from watching. Learning comes from doing. It comes from reflection. A trap that many leaders are falling into at the moment is something I call thinking in glances. This means they go through their feed every single day on social media. They see all of these interesting ideas that relate to personal and professional development. And then they just glance at them and they move on to the next idea and the next and the next and the next. And in this process, it feels like they are learning something, but in reality, they aren't. It isn't changing how they think about the world. It isn't changing how they show up in the world. All they are doing is thinking in glances. Neuroscience has told us that you don't learn by just watching. You learn through consolidation and through reflection. So here's the habit. Slow down on your consumption and spend more time going deeper into specific ideas. Allow them to really change your mental models of the world. Think about it, write about it, speak about it. Use these ideas to make new and better decisions in the world. That's how you know that new ideas are actually taking root and changing how you lead. Habit number 2. Do you have people in your team that trigger you? If you do, that's a very good thing. Triggers are a great signal for the internal work that needs to be done. Most of us only have a few people that are close to us that end up triggering us and showing us what needs to be worked on. But if you are leading a team, then you have a greater surface area for triggers to occur. You have more people to interact with that might show you the things that need to be worked on. So for example, that person who's always challenging your authority, they might be showing you about your need for control that you need to work on. Or that person who's always late, they might be triggering something in you that shows you the need for establishing clearer boundaries. So here's the habit. Use your team as a diagnostic tool. When something they do frustrates you or triggers you, instead of just reflexively asking what's wrong with them, slow down and ask, what is this showing me about myself? When you can start answering that question, you really start engaging with the inner work of leadership, and your team is helping you to become a much better version of yourself. Habit number 3. I've never met a leader who's told me, I don't want my team to get better over time. But I have met many leaders who've told me that they want their team to improve, but then they never prioritize that improvement. They never create the time for it. And by the way, your Monday morning meeting doesn't count here, because I know that many leaders have a meeting once a week where they might share an interesting story or lesson with the people in the team. But let's go back to point number 1. Watching isn't learning. Hearing isn't learning. We need consolidation and we need reflection for learning to really occur. So here's the habit. Create a rhythm of collective development. Make it your mission to develop every single person on your team. Don't leave development up to chance or hope that it occurs as a consequence of the other work that we are doing. I can tell you this, when the people inside of a business stop growing, it doesn't take long for the business to stop growing too. Habit number 4. You know what all heroes have in common? Is that in order for them to save the world or to find the treasure, they need to overcome the threat. You also have threats to your business, your relationships, your health, your wealth. And I would know because I wrote a book on this. So how you respond to your threats really matter. And if you are ineffective against these threats, then you'll end up in survival mode. You'll become a victim to the threat. And the funny thing is that many of these threats don't even seem like threats. Things like comfort and complacency can be some of the biggest threats that you'll ever face. So here's the habit. Be a threat to the threat. Continuously assess the threats in your personal and professional life. The worst thing that you can do is to ignore these threats. The best thing that you can do is to identify them and then to set in motion the process of overcoming them, of being a threat to the threat. Call it out, build a response, and watch its power over you shrink. Habit number 5. The most important title that you have as leader is WIP, Work in Progress. The worst leaders that I've ever worked with in facilitations and in coaching are the leaders who think that they know everything, that they can't be taught anything by anyone. Their self-awareness levels are set to 0, and they don't believe that they are a work in progress. So here's the habit. Create a list of the things that you need to start working on. And you can look to your threats and your triggers as a good starting point. But beyond that, you might also look to your vision for the future. You might also speak to the people around you. And all of these sources might give you some information on what you need to work on. And if you can't think of any, then the first port of call is to start raising your own self-awareness. Once you have this list, then be very deliberate in ticking things off. You don't have to rush through it. It's more about the intentionality of becoming who you could be. Remember that personal growth doesn't come from big moments. It comes from these small, consistent habits that is rewiring how you think and how you behave. And if you do this well over time, you completely reinvent yourself over and over again. Check out this video for more on how to transform yourself, your team, and your organization.